please like our video and subscribe to RotoWire. Then go to rotowire.com/pod for a free 10-day trial.
Welcome back to the RotoWire Fantasy Baseball Podcast. Jeff Erickson here with Mike the Mouth, Mike Massotto. Starting off with some news here. Mets-Nationals game tonight has been postponed due to the COVID issues that surfaced yesterday. We still don't know the player that tested positive, but there is one player that tested positive and 4 others that were getting quarantined for contact testing. I don't know if there's another player that tested positive or not that prompted the decision now instead of yesterday. But that's one more game that we have to account for our daily lineups today. If you're doing NFBC and you're doing the Thursday lineups, that's you're going to have some open spots now probably because of this.
Yeah, I can't wait. I gotta spend that's another hour of my day after. And it's, we're just talking about how I'm a big Mets fan. Like, now I'm not gonna get to see DeGrom pitch today, and whatever. Hopefully it doesn't impact the entire weekend, but who knows? That's the difficult thing here. It's day to day. Yeah. It'd be easier if they just said to you the weekend series has been whatever, but I don't know why they don't just say that. If it's COVID, then they should. More than likely these things turn out to be the whole weekend. So hopefully it's not gonna be the case.
That was the case last year, and so. Maybe we're farther along in this, but I don't know. So that's bad news, and it's a bummer. It's a real bummer. It brings me down. It's like, they're supposed to be out of that. Everyone's talking about having 85% of their players vaccinated, and here we are. All right. How many did you have? A lot of deGrom this year? Did you, or is this more just as a Mets fan you're excited to see him?
Well, I'm more as a Mets fan. Well, I have a couple of. I've had two number one picks this year in drafts that matter. One was the MTM Ultimate this year when my ball came out first, which was a miracle, which worked out great. So I took deGrom first overall in the Ultimate, and then I had the Midnight Madness draft. So I guess the 2 drafts that have my name on it, I get the number one pick. How does that work out?
Yeah, but there you go. There you go.
I was in the 12-team league, but I didn't have the first ball. I was a third that night, and because people weren't in the best of mental states, I got the third choice, and the number one pick was still there. So I took the 1 slot and got DeGrom. So I had 2 DeGrom shares this year, I think. I might have maybe earlier in the season when he was dropped, when he wasn't considered the number one pick yet. In some DCs, I may have a DeGrom or 2, but I think the 2 main big drafts that I have, because that had the front pick, I have DeGrom. So I have a couple.
I have no DeGrom this year. I have one league where I think I had the 2 pick, and I went Acuna there. And I in retrospect probably should have gone DeGrom, but it's all right. I mean, I've got a stud. I'm not really that concerned about that, but I wanted him. I just didn't end up with him anywhere. So be it. But that's a bummer. So who did you end up with pitching wise? Who did you end up with the most?
This year, just because in my high dollar drafts, I have you talking about all through or just the top guys?
Ones that you care about.
I have a lot of I guess the Darvish, the Bowers. I have some Woodruff, a lot of Austin Nolas, and I have many Giolito's I thought I would have that I do have. I have some Luis Castillos, so I got those. A few Burns, Corbin Burns later.
Who are some of your mid to late round targets? Who are guys that you really wanted to get? Like for me, I early on draft season, I was getting Sandy Alcantara a lot. Now he was going higher, so I didn't get him as much. I didn't get him in the mains, but I got him in a lot of other places. That's a guy that I was targeting. Who's a guy like that for you?
Isn't it Alcantara? This is a pet peeve I have. Okay, his name is Sandy Alcantara. If you're a Spanish person, we're dropping the A out of there. It's Alcantara. It's not Alcantara. I just don't.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. I sometimes.
But everybody says the short. They're like it's like we're dropping it to make it easier to say.
Gotcha.
So, I have a lot of Alcantara. I got warmed up to him a couple of months ago, and I put him on a ton of teams. But you said he's been rising like crazy. Like he went really early in our main event here. So I thought I was going to get him into the 7th round, and that wasn't happening. So he went into 6th. But Alcantara, I have some Ian Anderson in the middle rounds, the Mollies, the Arquides. Great. I really didn't jump on any, the Gaussman, Musgrove. Those are the big trio, guys in the middle there. Gaussman, Musgrove. Who's the other one that's going right in the middle rounds? Everybody's on this year as the next big guy. I don't have a lot of those.
Yeah. The funny thing is, when I got Gaussman in our draft, that's the first time I got him all year. And I felt like he didn't get pushed as much as some of the other guys. Well, Musgrove went the same round. Yeah, of course they go in the same round, but he went first in this one ahead of him. So Team 14 took him. That was interesting. There's some guys I don't get at all. Who are some of the guys that you didn't want? Like, not the 20th round guys, but like early or middle. Who are some of the guys? Because I think it's really valuable to know who you don't want. I'll give you an example. I didn't want any Dinelson Lamet this year, not for the cost. I didn't get him a single time. I didn't get Patrick Corbin once. The velocity was down so much last year, not just with the fastball, but also with the slider. And I know it was only 2 months. I know that's always the rejoinder I hear, but it's enough to scare me away.
Yeah, well, it's easy for me. I mean, I've said that to other pods, on the Draft Champions podcast that I'm on a lot with our buddy Zach. I talked about this many times. I will not touch a Strasburg. Forget it. I'm not gonna. Yep. I will not mess with Kershaw. The indicators are there. I don't want to be I don't want to be on him. With when the final turn starts to go down. I mean, he won't be a great pitcher, but I don't want him as one of my aces right now. So I'm not touching him. That's there. I think the warning signs are there for Lance. I don't have any Lance Lynn that's there. Zach, I really started to sour on Zach Plesac as we went along, so I don't put him on any teams. And I get in Gausman. I mean, I know he's a popular thing, but he's got to show me more than just what he did last year. And so, guys like that, Musgrove. Musgrove. It's the injuries too. These are the guys you want to be. Can they stay on the field? At that point too, right? I mean, that's the other thing. So, so those are the kind of guys I've been staying away from, the pitchers that I just don't really want to touch. And I'm not a closer early guy. I'm not going to be taking, paying major draft capital to make sure I have a Liam Hendricks or, especially this year. I think there's no reason you needed to do it this year with so many closers that are up in flex. I mean, you're getting them so late this year comparatively. If you didn't like in the earlier years, if you didn't get them early, you're done. They're gone. Not good with defined roles. So now there's a lot more speculation and guys you have to put multiple stabs at. So I wasn't all over getting those guys early.
Yeah, so. And I'll tell you what, when between the two mains, one league I did go with an early closer in Kenley. Another old closer, they already said there's no competition for the job. Fine, so I went with him. But I like the build a lot better when you wait. Those first 10 rounds, it's much more comfortable. You look at it afterward, you're like, oh yeah, I like this a lot better. Now granted, you're playing chicken with that. You're waiting. You're like, okay, I'm playing Kapler ball now. I've got McGee as my closer. I've got Pagan. It's not as comfortable. It's scary, but then again, you're getting it at other spots. You got to remember you got that payoff there, and what you can focus on in FAB too.
Yeah, well, same thing with the catchers too. I mean, like you talked about it, but yeah. I've been a no go on JT Realmuto since the beginning. And when I started to see him third round, fourth round, I mean, I just never seen a time in recorded history when a guy said to me, I won my league, I won my main event league. Thank God I drafted fill in the blank catcher.
Well, you know what? You say that. But last year, the correlation with people who drafted Realmuto and league winners was really high. It worked out for people last year.
Right. It worked out because they didn't blow up. It's not because, wow, the guy's statistic, that's what put him over the top as compared to someone. I mean, you could look at the whole draft as a whole. I'd be interested to find out, as a whole, you have to do a little analysis in there and look inside the numbers. But yeah, I get that. But, rarely is there a situation where you have like a Piazza or Ivan Rodriguez kind of type guy. You take a catcher, those kind of numbers there. And then more often than not, again, he already has a broken finger going in, to start off with. He's also gotten paid. He's got his money right now. I'm just concerned about this kind of. I'm not going to put a catcher there, early in my lineup. And like you said, I like to build a lot more by not putting those guys there. I want as many 5 category guys as I can put in there at that point in the draft.
Cool. So we're going back to pitching a little bit real quick. You start your research in October. You're starting to look up a pitcher. The first thing you look at on a pitcher is?
I mean, I like to say it's like advanced metrics, but I'm not an advanced metrics kind of guy. I just want to see the indicators, how he finished the year. What did I see? In terms of how he was doing, so I basically go on a lot of how they were doing last year. And then I'll look into it a little further. So I wish it's not really a scientific, because a lot of the stuff isn't even out yet. We don't have the forecasts are out yet. We don't have all those guys to do all the number crunching for me, because I'm not a math guy at all to do that. So I just don't. A lot of it's going by feel, gut, seeing how they finished the year. And that kind of thing too. So and just prospecting and for guys that may be taking that next level at that point. Like Zach Eflin was one of those. I have none of him. But I'm not a believer yet at that point. Like I said before, for where he's going, especially since he was going up and up. That's a guy you don't mind in the later on, maybe in the 20. But now he's like, where he's going right now. I'm just not throwing all my chips in yet on a Zach Eflin at that point. Even though I know people, saw this, and this about him, I wasn't one of those guys believing in him yet.
Yeah, well, that's the funny thing is there's a lot of those guys that I got early but not late. They were when they were in the 18th round and the 15th round, sure. When they go in the 10th, you're like, I can't do it as readily. But you got to take someone. You can't just let all your guys go. You got to find like your later targets there. And yeah, Molly slipped to you, and that worked out pretty well. But especially because of attrition, guys, we're losing guys, and we're gonna lose more guys than ever this year too. We're gonna have so many injuries. I think that's gonna be the other tricky thing. I notice you don't have a ton of starters right now. Was that by design, or is that just that this is the way that the draft fell, and you're going to have to just fab a lot more?
Yeah, I mean, it's the way the draft fell. I mean, and that's why I try to slip in a guy like Jeffries there at the end there. Hopefully, I think he's got the starting job now. I think he's starting this particular weekend, and as a guy that's a high upside guy, I had like 50 shares of him last year and everything, and every DC I ever did, and didn't do anything. Got 0 for it, pretty much. So this year you kind of owes me. But you can't come out of the draft, like you said, you can't come out of the draft with everything that's there. I mean, I think this team has got a lot of everything except maybe the starting pitching, but you got the two horses at the top. You're hoping when you put two, you have a little more leeway in starting pitching when you start off with a couple of the, high volume guys that you're hoping that's going to put up massive numbers there. So you don't have to walk out and have like 7-star, great starters there too. So I'll take what I got there. And yes, I'm going to need to build a little bit there. And, I thought a lot of these late guys got sniped. So whatever, Dustin May was coming down there. I have hundreds of shares of Dustin May everywhere because I was convinced that sooner or later that guy was going to start. Turned out to be a lot sooner. Right. So he would look great on the squad right now. But hey, look, you can't walk out of the draft with everything.
Yeah, I wanted both Gonsolin and May. I love both of them. I think, and I chose Gonsolin. I wish I would have gone May, obviously, but Gonsolin's still going to get his innings. You made this point on the Dead Pull Hitter podcast that May and Gonsolin both, they're going to get 100+ innings. It's just a question. They're going to get some starts. They're going to get some long relief. Got to be patient with these guys. They're good pitchers. Period.
Yeah, you made that point, or I made that point on the podcast. There.
I think you did. I listened to you. You were with Gecko, right?
New York.
Yeah.
Jeff, so happy to hear that you actually listened to me outside of these. I mean, I know that may be bad for you to admit in circles there. Like I was talking to Gene McCaffrey in Vegas, and talk about a piece of work. He's like, and he comes up to me. I never met the guy. He's like, Mike, I listened to you. It was hysterical. I love talking. I was like, Gene McCaffrey listened to me on a podcast. Yeah. He just loved how the stuff that I was saying and whatever. It's just funny that you listen to these things that are out there. So I'm glad you're listening to it. And I'm also happy that you're helping with my brand a lot because you find a way now to work my name into almost every one of your shows, with much to Chris List's
he's the one that brings it up more than I do, I think, but that's all right. I mean, you're in every single one of his beat Chris List. You stalk him like it, but it's all
good.
The
first one. I don't get it. I'm not in list 2, list 3. I'm only in one of them. Yeah. The first one. That's enough.
Before he's gotten his vibe, I get it. You want to. Tap him when he's softest. I get it. Sure.
But he has a vibe. I wasn't aware he had a vibe. He actually has.
He's feeling it. But we'll see. But all about that. All right. Got a couple minutes left. Any war stories? Any parting shots before you take off here?
Well, look. Vegas it wasn't the same as it was in years with a lot of, they still with down attendance, but it was still nothing like going to Vegas. So if you're listening out there and you get a chance to go out to Vegas and to the NFBC next year, go. It's going to be a huge year next year. It was just a great time out there. And it's great because you get to see so many people. I get to meet so many people I've never met before. And it's funny. Most of these guys I'm meeting for the first time are like 15, 20, 25 years younger than me out there. And I don't know what it is in this day and age. Maybe you can help me out with this. I have this problem. Like I guess I have a bit of an imposing physical stature, as you know. I guess. And the first thing I meet these guys, they have to they're like grabbing. Hi, mate. They're grabbing my arm.
That's weird.
They're pumping the chest. I'm like, dude, it's like hashtag me too. It's like I'm feeling violated. Like I meet Matt Davis for the first time. I think he grabbed my buttocks. I'm like, what's with you guys out there? I mean, come on, give me a little personal space.
I can't speak to that. I can't answer that for you.
I was like, just a fist bump, a handshake. Why do you have to pull all over me? I don't understand. And then I think I mentioned this on Twitter. I finally get away from all these guys. I'm laying by the pool. they're getting some sun after my main event out there, and I feel like a breeze of air come by, and I open my eyes, laying there. There's an old lady who walks by, and she's just like, I heard her just say, "You have a very nice body," and she just keeps walking out. She was like 70 years old. I have this geriatric cougar thing going on with me out there. I don't know what's going on. I'm getting accosted by the pool out there. And Jeff, I know you have the same problem when you're by the pool as well out in Vegas.
All the hours I spend by the pool when I'm in Vegas. All those hours, yes.
I can see with that complexion, that'd be the case. But
I get plenty of sun out here in Southern California. I don't have to go to the pool to get that. I'll just do that and do my thing. But
then of course the rogue drafter story of the new. This is the last thing I'll end with. I know you want to end, but we had a rogue drafter situation. Shout out to Carter Gill. I know I get to meet him for the first time out there. Comes into the party, the big Vegas party we do out there, completely in the bag. You get with a beer in each hand, and he's going to be in the Midnight Madness draft. So he goes into the draft, and he sits down and he gets the 12 spot, right? And he sits there. He's got no draft sheets. I said no. His phone is dead. He's got no computer, and proceeds to try to draft an entire. We're giving him like extra sheets we had. That's there. We felt bad for the guy to proceed to draft the team with no in that condition for the whole draft. It was hysterical. And then the next day he's trying to do fab from the poker table in Vegas on his phone. So he's playing poker at the Vegas tables, and he's trying to do fab for his. It's like, God, was like, man, but it was hysterical because just the commentary alone and the condition he was in all night long was just hysterical. So you saw that team with the two UTs in the first 10 rounds or whatever it was. I don't know how he's going to get the most out of I think Jordan Alvarez and Nelson Cruz. So that good luck on. He does have the best bench. For sure.
Well, Nelson Cruz is in the starting lineup today because they're playing interleague games in Milwaukee. So there you go. He's covered that first week at least, but there you go. And I guess the rogue drafter was back by the original OG rogue drafter was doing a main this week. I missed out on that, but.
Oh yeah, I missed out on that one. I don't have that kind of Genstad luck to end up in those kind of leagues.
Oh, he wasn't in it either. He was just passing results on to me. But yeah. There was. I didn't feel like there was any sort of outliers in our draft, so that's like
no, there's not.
Yeah, it happens. One time in the main, I had someone next to me drafting out of a magazine. That was fun.
Was it Sports Illustrated swimsuit issue?
Could have been. Yeah, the guys that were retired were getting drafted as well, but that's right. Mike, hey, this was so much fun. Thank you so much for joining me today, sharing your insights and it was just fun. Thanks for joining me.
Yeah, man, it's all in good fun, man. I bust chops a lot, man. Jeff, I have real respect for what you do. You do a phenomenal job with RotoWire. It's a phenomenal service. It saved me in the draft. I told you were laughing about the Lucas Sims pick. Yeah. Because I was at KC Cha when it's coming down the road. Let me look at my phone updates real quick, and it just popped up on RotoWire. Mm-hmm. Lucas Sims sharing the job. I said, you're like, how did you? If it wasn't for that, I would have missed out on him. So that came through. And for anybody enjoyed me listening to me here, I do a lot of fun stuff on Twitter. You can follow me on Twitter at Godfather NFBC, and love to have you follow. And I'm always posting stuff on Twitter. Only fantasy baseball, occasional politics, mostly fantasy baseball, but at Godfather NFBC.
Very good. Well, that's going to end up today's show. We got Clay and Todd tomorrow. Please subscribe, rate, and review. We love those reviews. Love to see them, and I assume we'll get some from this one. So please send us your comments.
Or hate mail.
Pool, pond would be good for you. But
pool, pond would be good for you. See, good one. See, you worked one in.
Yeah.
You worked one in.
Just for you. All right.
Yes.
All right, everybody. Thanks for listening. Happy opening day. Take care.